Our world should be a treasured value. After taking AP Environmental Science, we got a greater understanding on the reality of our planet. We are now able to view the environment around us with a better comprehension of why it should be protected. However, most others didn't see it the same way. We realize this is not because of ignorance, but it's due to the lack of education. To prove that education is the most essential step in trying to live a sustainable life, we cleaned up different environmentally damaged regions, found recreational activities that do no harm to the environment, and we interviewed and surveyed several students to see their own opinions. Right now, it's Niveda and Maya's first stop at the Prairie Path on Eola Road, right next to Mateo.
The first place we cleaned up was the most damage from human beings. We were surprised by the amount of trash collected. Over 12 pounds of trash, and in those 12 pounds, 5 of those pounds were items that could be easily recycled. What initially was thought to be a simple trash pickup turned out to be us filling over 3 bags of garbage with trash and recyclables. Because this area is unprotected and right next to an area of construction, it was expected to be polluted, but it still shocked us. The plant life was unhealthy due to the runoff from urban sprawl, the biodiversity was low, and the overall condition of the prairie path was not environmentally healthy.
So what do you expect to find at McDowell that's going to be different?
Well, I know that the prairie path is more polluted because it's more an industrial area, so I'm expecting to find less trash than we did. But people also run out off McDowell, so I wouldn't be surprised to find more plastics because people just didn't decide to recycle them. But overall, I'm expecting to find less trash, hopefully, but we'll see when we get there.
As we walked along the trail, we found no signs of invasive species, tons of biodiversity, and minimal pollution. This was expected, of course, because it is a preserved area, but it was still nice to see this piece of land being enjoyed by citizens in Naperville, but it being at the same time environmentally healthy. The thing we noticed most about McDowell was the areas that were close to urbanized land, the borders of the forest preserve. The amount of pollution increased drastically. There were tons of bottles, cans, and other recyclables. Besides this, there were also many information stations about keeping this area protected for all, and it just goes to show how a little bit of education can make a huge impact.
Just like how we thought with McDowell, it's a lot cleaner. We only found about 2 pounds of disposables, and about half of those were recyclables. They actually show and they educate the public about how to keep it clean, why it's important to keep it clean, how it protects the biodiversity and the different types of animals and other organisms here. Those are the types of things that we need at other places. At the Prairie Path we don't have that. That's why it's a lot more dirty. That way the visitors are able to respect the environment and keep it clean.
We still had one more stop to make, but so far we had gathered a sufficient amount of evidence to share with our peers. We wanted to ask them about their knowledge of the environment and how if they believed education on the subject could help. Here's what a few had to say.
I think the thing that causes the most environmental harm in our world is the use of plastic and things that aren't reusable.
I believe plastics are the most harmful to the environment because they are not natural, they are very processed, and they break down into things that are very harmful.
I think it all stems back to a lack of education on how the environment has actually gotten so bad, because there's simple things that you can just do day to day that can really make a huge impact. And obviously just overuse and overconsumption of resources and just not realizing what that's actually doing. So people don't have a first-hand knowledge of what's actually happening because no one's telling them.
People need to become aware that they should be using reusable products and trying to limit the amount of times they throw something that's supposed to go in the recycling in the trash, and better education will fix all of this.
It can inform them on actual problems that are in our environment, and they can see what kind of an impact they can make, and they also can see how large these problems actually are.
Realize what impact you can have on the world, and that it's your decision whether to make a good one or a bad one. And it can all start with just making a really simple decision by, using a different bag at the grocery store or buying something different than you normally do. So it's really simple, and people just need to know how they can actually fix it.
It looks like most of Matea's students agree that education about the environment can certainly help. Now it's time for our last stop, which was the park right by my house.
I think that for our cleanup today, we're definitely not going to find as much cleanliness as we did at McDowell, because this isn't really an actual forest preserve or anything, but I do think that it's going to be cleaner than the prairie path, just because even if you look behind me, that's actually a police station. This is a residential area. There's tons of signs, there's tons of recycling bins and tons of trash cans that I think that people, since they see more, they're going to use more. So I think that we're going to find a little bit less trash here than we did at the prairie path, but we'll see.
Surprisingly, this area was relatively clean. We collected about 6 pounds of trash, 2 of which were recyclables. We reasoned this was because it is a region closely monitored by the police station nearby. There were also recreational resources nearby, such as picnic tables and a park. There were clear instructions to keep this area clean and protected, and it seemed to be kept that way.
I was pleasantly surprised to see that everything here is kept up pretty well. I didn't find a lot of trash. The only trash that I did find was just a lot of plastic bags, a couple water bottles. One of the biggest things, though, that we found throughout the park were bags of dog poop or dog feces, and that's probably just because this is a residential area. A lot of people like to take their dogs out for walks here. So I think that one of the things that somebody could do to make sure that they don't do that is just by simply using the trash cans, because they're all over the place. I think that makes it a lot easier for people to be able to recycle and throw away trash around the whole park so that it's kept pretty clean.
Overall, Niveda and I believe that this project was a success. Although we did do environmental service, our objective was to raise awareness of how a better understanding of nature through education sincerely helps. Niveda and I felt very pleased to see the amount of cleanup we did and how the amount of trash or recyclables in the area truly correlates to the education behind it. We would love to return to a similar project in the future, as it was a great experience and made us feel confident in our apes' knowledge.